Alright, hi everyone. I am going to be doing reviews on comics released last Wednesday. It's Wednesday today, so it's been a full week. It was released on the 2nd. I did not do any movie reviews this past week, mostly because nothing really came out except for a remake of Overboard, which, you know, how can you really surpass Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell? Can't. And Tully, you know, I know that Charlize Theron's a tremendous talent, but seeing her, you know, kind of doing the whole monster makeup type of thing, where she's fat and everything else is, you know, not really appealing to me. Anyway, so we're going to be going into comics, so got a bunch this week, so it's going to be a little bit of a decent video. So let's start with Avengers #1. So Avengers #1 by Jason Aaron. And Jason Aaron is great doing Thor. However, anything else they seem to put him on, I just don't like. I love him doing Thor, but you know, I've read his Star Wars stuff, it's not very good, and now doing Avengers, and it's not good. So it starts with 1,000,000 years ago. There wasn't even people on the planet 1,000,000 years ago. I'm not even sure what was here 1,000,000 years ago, you know, besides dinosaurs. Even if it was dinosaurs, I have to look that up. But it starts out with a group of superheroes led by Odin and Phoenix, and I guess a precursor to Black Panther and a precursor to the Sorcerer Supreme, you know, Doctor Strange. And they go up against the Celestials. And now we fast forward 1,000,000 years. And now we're battling another Celestial. You know, it's Thor and Iron Man and Captain America are having, you know, a beer, you know, discussing stuff, and Thor now has a golden arm instead of the steel one, and Captain Marvel comes in battling a Celestial, which she kind of puts down, and of course, you know, Doctor Strange is there, and Black Panther, of course, so they can mirror the two timelines. Ghost Rider pops up, and I don't know, it's just it's not very compelling. But anyway, so that's the new Avengers. I was very, very excited about this book, and for some reason, team books just they can't do them anymore. I don't know why, but you know, I look forward to Justice League, and Justice League's not good. I look forward to Avengers, and Avengers is not good, and so anyway, and it's always aliens. You know, they always have to bring in aliens. I don't know, whatever. Alright, so that's Avengers. My opinion, you can skip it. Alright, moving on. We're going to flip-flop between Marvel and DC. So we're going on to Batman #46. And this continues the timeline of The Gift. So Booster Gold sees kind of what Flash did with Flashpoint, and he decides that he's going to give Batman a gift of not having his parents die and him experiencing life without his parents dying, but now he expects to put things back. And Bruce is, again, not having any of it. He decides that he's going to leave everything just the way it is, and Booster's frantic now to put everything back in, the genie back in the bottle. And so he decides that, in his infinite wisdom, that he's going to go and take Catwoman out of the sanitarium that she's in, and he figures, okay, he's in love with, you know, with Catwoman. Batman's involved with Catwoman in this other timeline. So if he brings them together, he's going to, you know, resurrect the timeline, or at least, you know, be able to, you know, start stitching stuff back together. That doesn't go very well, because Catwoman, the only thing she says throughout the entire book is one word, and that's meow. So she doesn't say any other thing besides that one word through the whole book, so you know that there's something wrong. So he puts her in the costume. He sews a costume, which, you know, I guess he's a seamstress. And he brings her to Wayne Manor, and you know, Bruce is like, "What are you doing? Putting her here?" And she then decides that she's going to wipe out the Waynes. So claws go everywhere, and she ends up killing Bruce's parents. Batman is now Dick Grayson, so Batman comes in and shoots her. And they get into a fight, and she cuts off or Batman's fingers, and you know, it ends with you know, Bruce doing like he does when he's a child, and sitting there in a pool of blood with his family around him and dead, and he looks up at the sky and he screams. So it kind of ends that way, and Booster Gold's like, "Guess that didn't go well." So of course this is all leading up to the wedding. I don't know. I guess he has to put this thing back quickly, or else the wedding's not going to happen. So anyway, that's Batman number 46. Has been a decent storyline. Definitely shocking. You know, I didn't expect you know, that to happen. But I guess when you deal with alternate storylines, you can pretty much do anything you want. So anyway, Batman number 46. Recommend it. All right, and now we're into another 46, and that is Green Lanterns. So Green Lanterns follows Baz and Jessica as the new recruits. You know, it's been obviously with 46, it's been you know, more than, I guess, 2 years or a year and a half, 2 years since they were first introduced, and so not really, but they're still new kids on the block kind of thing. So the Jessica is now in this big cone-shaped portal where she's experiencing the part of her life that made her go reclusive, and which I think that's a great idea. That, you know, she wasn't born that way with this kind of condition of being reclusive. It's something that happened to her in her past that made her this way, and it was that she was on a hunting trip with some of her friends, and they witnessed a murder, and the people that committed the murder are then become hunters of them. So basically she sees her friends get cut down one at a time, and I guess that the justice of that never got accomplished, so they never found the people. So in this alternate world that she's created within this cone that she's trapped in, she's experiencing this, and meanwhile Baz, they call him Constantine. Constantine puts Baz into this thing, so he can't have his ring, so he's powerless inside of it, and he gets to battle his own self as Power Ring. And Power Ring is the alternate version of Green Lantern, and they're evil, and you know, that kind of thing. But so he basically fights an evil version of himself, and then he gets to finally see Jessica, and Jessica's back in the original Power Ring thing, because that's originally what happened with her, is that she ended up getting the evil Power Ring, and that comes off her, and then she ends up, you know, becoming a Green Lantern from there. So at the end, we see her in the Power Ring garb, about to take vengeance on the guys that that killed her friends. So anyway, decent storyline, especially going back and seeing some of the stuff that made Jessica what she was. So recommend Green Lanterns. The chemistry between the characters has always been great, so I definitely recommend that book in general. Alright, so now we're into Injustice 2, number 25. So Injustice 2 basically again follows the storyline of the video game. So this takes place in an alternate world where Superman basically took control of the planet to make sure that there was no killing, and he was in control of everything, so he was a dictator. And in this storyline, Ra's al Ghul has teamed up with Grodd, and they're trying to take things over, etc. So Damian Wayne, which is Robin in the regular storyline, he's older in here. He tries to save Bruce, so he goes against his sister, Anastasia al Ghul. So she gets captured by Grodd's people, because Rod feels that that Rachel's betrayed him, etc. And then Talia shows up, basically her mom, and kills the gorillas and tries to get her out. Meanwhile, now Anastasia's free, and she goes to Wayne Manor and she shoots Catwoman and has a gun on Alfred, and that's kind of where it ends. So this has been I enjoy this, especially with Harley being basically a good guy. So Harley's in this. The only thing I don't like is that Wonder Woman is basically a bad guy. She's a follower of Superman. So, and then Supergirl is also in this, and she is she's trying to do the right thing. She's no longer following her cousin, so she's trying to do the right thing, and they end up she ends up with Blue Beetle and things like that. And Vixen's in this, etc. So it's been a good book. It definitely doesn't follow really any of the major storylines of any of the other books, because it's kind of off in its own universe. But anyway, Justice League number 25, recommend it. Okay, now we are moving on to Action Comics Special number 1. Okay, so apparently DC wants to milk this 80-year anniversary, Action Comics number 1000 as much as they possibly can. So the number 1000 issue was $7.99. This one's $5, and I guess they're just trying to milk it for all it's worth. But once again, Superman has the red underwear back, so I guess it's back for good, which is great. There was no reason to change it to begin with. I know people make fun of it, and I guess that's the one they wanted to stay away from, but I guess with Bendis coming back, he's kind of demanding it, so now all the books have him as his red underwear back. So this has the first storyline, has 3 different storylines again, whatever. So Dan Jurgens is doing the first one, and somebody is targeting Lois to kill her. So she has like 3 different attempts on her life. The first one she gets away from. The second one, the Superman saves her, and then Superman goes, well, it's got to be Lex. So he goes to Lex, and it burns a hole in his window and flies in, and he's all pissed off. And Lex is like, wasn't me, man, so who's going to fix my window? So he uses his X-ray vision to see into the vault, and sees that his Lex suit has not been used recently. So he's like, well, maybe it wasn't you. Alright, so he's like, well, who is it? So he leaves, and sure enough, there's another attempt on Lois's life, and it's Lex. However, it's a older Lex. So it's Lex from an older timeline. He comes back in time or whatever to fight to kill Lois. So for whatever reason, and so the next attempt on Lois's life, the Lex from this reality or this timeline or this, I guess, year, since it was he's in from the past or from the future. So it comes in and saves her, and now he and Superman basically fend off this other Lex. So that's basically how it ends, is that he's that this other Lex has been defeated. So anyway, that's the first storyline. The second one is Clark giving a speech, and he's making fun of people throughout who are in the audience, and various people in the Justice League he makes fun of. And then he makes fun of Lex, and Lex really can't, take a joke. So anyway, that's that storyline. It's weird. And then the last one is it's like a few pages, 5-6 page storyline from Max Landis, who did Chronicle and stuff like that. And I've met Max, and he's a strange bird. So what I heard was that the reason why this is a winter special that was never published before, there was some kind of a sexual harassment, something that I don't know if that was something to do with Max. So that they didn't, they ended up shelving that. So they brought it back now, So a holiday special in the middle of May, and Lois's car gets demolished, and she's like, "Oh, I've had this car forever, blah blah blah. I love this car." And they go off to this cabin, and for like a present or whatever else, Lois goes to the roof, and on the roof is Superman with the chair, the seat from the car, and so she has the steering wheel and the seat from the car, and he takes her flying in it. Okay. The first storyline was good. After that, it's just Dan Jorgen stuff is good, but after that, it's just you can just stop reading. But hopefully now they're finished milking the Action Comics anniversary. So moving on. Okay, so now we're up to Red Sonja, number 15, and yes, that's my friend Joni Broses on that cover again. She was on the cover of Vampirella a couple months ago, and now she's on the cover of Red Sonja. So I like Red Sonja. This storyline is continuing following where she was pushed into the future or another timeline, because I don't know where Hyrcania is, if it's just a fantasy to our universe, which means it would be another dimension, or if it's a time factor where she's just moved forward in time. So anyway, so Red Sonja, so Max, who's from this timeline, is stuck there, but he has magic. So he was a cop in this timeline. So she's back in Hyrcania. Max is stuck here too, so she was been trying to find him, and of course trying to find Cool Goth and fight him. So and she has a professor also that was from the future, but he was from Hyrcania also. So he purposely put himself from the future and has been there, but now he's come back to help her. So they're trying to get into this fortress to confront Cool Goth, but they can't figure out how to get in there because, of course, there's an army there. So he decides to do. The professor decides to use a cloaking spell to bring Sonja in as a bounty. So she's in chains and the whole bit, and he brings her in so that they can confront Cool Goth right there. So meanwhile, Max is taking his power and feeding Cool Goth. So he's making Cool Goth stronger. So once they get inside, but Cool Goth, which I thought this was really cool, Cool Goth has created a clone of Sonja. So she's like a clone. She kind of knows she's a clone, and she wants to be the only one. So there's a fight coming between them two. So when she gets in, of course, they break off the chains, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not really a prisoner. I'm going to be fighting you. So prepare yourself, Cool Goth. Bring anybody you want, but I'm going to kill you." So and then they end up fighting. She ends up fighting the clone in this little arena type of thing, and I really thought they were going to keep the clone. I thought that was kind of a cool idea to have this evil version of Sonja around, and she had these black makeup on around her eyes and stuff like that, and she was wearing the shorts from the future. So, but no, so Sonja kills her, so she's not going to be anything in the future. As she goes to confront Cool Goth again, he blasts the professor, and that's kind of where it ends. So we'll see what happens with that storyline, but of course, Cool Goth is always the main baddie for her. So anyway, it's been pretty good. I like what Amy Chu is doing with it, and the art's decent. So if you're into fantasy. All right, so moving on to DC Nation number 0. So this is a 25-cent book. So it's basically everybody throws it in. In fact, it's got the logo from my comic shop there. So they must have done it with everybody, and the whole back also has the comic shop I go to. So they must have done that with all the shops. So what this is basically a marketing technique for the 3 new books that they have coming out, or the 3 continuing books that they have coming out. So one of it is new. Justice League No Justice. Of course, the Batman Catwoman wedding, and then Man of Steel, which Bendis is taking over. So the first thing is the Joker, and the Joker is in someone's house, just this random guy, and he's waiting for the mail to come. So he's waiting for the mail, and the guy is like, he's got the guy at gunpoint, and he's like, I don't even understand why you're here. I don't know who Batman is. I have no idea. He's like, well, Batman and Catwoman are getting married. You're going to get an invitation, so I'm going to wait for the invitation to come because I didn't get one, so you're going to get one, and I'm going to use that invitation to get in. And the guy's like, why would I get an invitation to this wedding? And he's like, and you're going to kill me. And he's like, no, I only kill people when I'm angry. And I'm not angry right now. So he's like, okay. So he's basically sitting there all day with the Joker waiting for the mail to come. And finally when the mail comes, he says, oh, it's here. The invitation's here. And the guy's like, what? How's that possible? And he turns the gun on the guy, and the guy's like, I thought you only kill people when you're angry. He says, oh, I only kill people when I'm happy. And I'm happy. And he kills him anyway. So, and of course you open the wedding invitation. It's not a wedding invitation at all. So, great little piece. Really, really great. Tom King did a really, really good job with that. 7 pages or whatever else. It's very intense as you're reading it. About what's going to happen with this poor guy. So, great job, Tom King. That was awesome. And if I suggest picking that up, it's only a quarter. So the second thing is, of course, the Superman with Man of Steel, the upcoming Man of Steel, by Bendis, and it's all about. So Lois is no longer working for the Daily Planet because she's off doing a book. So Perry is trying to put everything else on Clark as far as getting new stories and stuff like that. So he hands him a story, and Perry calls him in his office. He's like, this is crap. What are you doing? I need something good. And he says, I already knew about this. It's not really a scoop. And they bring in another reporter, this chick named Robinson Good. I don't know who calls their daughter Robinson, but Robinson Good, who's basically up to no good. So it follows Superman through a little adventure, as he's trying to rewrite this whole thing. And throughout Superman's adventure, it switches back to her, and basically she says that she's going to be owning the Daily Planet. So she's obviously got her own agenda, and we'll see where that goes with Man of Steel. But I think that's going to be going into Man of Steel. Man of Steel #1. So, and then it goes into Justice League No Justice, #0, I guess, because this continues into #1. And, Batman is being held prisoner by Brainiac, and it goes into all of these teams. So it's like Justice League A, B, C, D, E. So here I have to actually look at this because there's so many of them. So Justice League Team Entropy. Where they come up with these names? In fact, who is writing this? I don't know who's writing this, but I guess I'll find out in a couple pages. But Team Entropy's got Lobo, and Deathstroke, and Lex Luthor, and Beast Boy. Whatever. Then Justice League Team Mystery. Martian Manhunter, Superman, Starfire, Sinestro. I have no idea what's going on here. Then Justice League Team Wonder. Guess who's on that team? So Wonder Woman, Dr. Fate, Zatanna, Etrigan, Raven, and then Team Wisdom. Cyborg's leading that one with Robin, Harley, Adam, and the Flash. So I have no idea what's going on here. This is Scott Snyder. So Scott Snyder's doing this Justice League No Justice book, which comes out this week, comes out today. But from reading that, I'm definitely not excited about that. So it kind of falls in line with the new Avengers book. They cannot write Avengers Justice League. Just, what the hell? So we'll see what happens with issue number 1. But apparently Brainiac is the baddie. So then they have to bring in, 20 different people to fight him. So I'm not excited about that book, but I'll get it. I'll definitely be reporting on it. Okay, and then we're going back into Dynamite with Red Sonja Tarzan, number 1. So it's a very odd mashup, but it's written by Gail Simone, and Gail Simone does a really good job of taking these very odd team-ups. She did one with Conan. She did a Wonder Woman Conan, which it wasn't great, but it was okay. And I'm a big Tarzan fan. I don't know if you see the books behind me. There's definitely some Tarzan books back there. And so they have this villain that she sets up, who is a hunter. So that's where it's going to basically fall into Tarzan right off the bat. So you start out in the jungle. He's a hunter, and his female compatriot, or his right-hand girl, basically explains him to one of their the reporter, that's whoever's with them, and says, he takes whatever he wants, and whatever he wants, he makes sure that nobody else wants it or has it. So she has a big scar on her face, so you assume that he put that there, so that it tarnished her beauty. So they find this whole set of a family of rare cats, jungle cats, and he takes one and he kills the others, and much to the dismay of some of the other people with them, and so that there's only basically one left, and he has the only one. So Tarzan, who's obviously now Lord of Greystoke, finds out about this and has a meeting with this guy, and he doesn't really understand. He knows that Tarzan has this past, but sees him basically as a rich aristocrat, and brings him in to show him his entire collection. And there's a Tantor, which is an elephant, and then he finds a gorilla that's badly beaten and everything else, and he communicates with that, and he says, I want you to bring that back to me. I want you to bring the gorilla, send the gorilla to me, or else we're going to have a problem. So now we jump to Red Sonja's storyline, and Red Sonja's drunk, like she normally is in Gail Simone stuff, and we find out that she was confronted by a woman with the scar, so it's the same girl, obviously in the past, or in it's another dimension, or wherever Harkania is, and she bests the woman, but one of the hunter shows up with one of these other guys, and the other guy fires a crossbow, kills her horse, and then hits a poison arrow into her, so she can no longer fight. So basically they best her because they put her on her butt. So, she goes to a bar trying to tend to her wound, the whole bit, and she says, I need to find the witch. So she goes to the witch and tells her the story, and basically tells her that that's how they're gonna traverse the timeline or whatever else, so Red Sonja can pop into Tarzan's thing. So that's what's going on. So we now flash forward now back into Tarzan, and these packages arrive for Tarzan, these crates, and one of them is the leg of the elephant made into an umbrella stand. It was pretty gross. And on top of that, one of the crates has the dead gorilla. So he sent back the gorilla, but the gorilla's dead. So, and obviously he wrote a story, wrote a letter to him saying that he tortured the gorilla before he sent it on, as it died. So anyway, so now Tarzan's majorly pissed off, and then Red Sonja shows up in a full English garb, so full corset and the whole bit. So we'll see what happens there. But overall, I thought that was a great start for a book that has a team up that's extremely odd. But the team up is the storyline setup for that has been very, very good. So Gail Simone, good job. I recommend it. And we'll move on to a Marvel book, Star Wars number 47. And Star Wars number 47 is continuing the Mon Cala storyline, where they're trying to get the king, who is imprisoned by the Empire. So they meaning the normal Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, the whole bit. And so now that they're underwater with the muff that they had captured. Meanwhile, they have an alien shapeshifter that they've hired, who's a thespian, to play the Moff, so nobody knows he's missing, and C-3PO is with them, and they go to this opera. So C-3PO is explaining the opera to this fake Moff as the other team is trying to infiltrate this base to free the king. So they're underwater, they're being chased by this big gargantuan sea creature, and they realize that the sea creature is following the lights of the sub that they're in. So Luke decides that he's going to go out into the water and distract this thing by turning on his lightsaber. Nobody's ever really said whether lightsabers can be turned on underwater, because technically they are electronic. Not sure. But anyway, he turns on the lightsaber underwater, and he confronts the sea creature, and Chewie basically rescued him at the last moment and brings him back into the sub, and then like a dog, he shakes himself off on everybody, and it's all funny. So meanwhile, they actually infiltrate the base, and this is actually kind of funny. So meanwhile, they go back to the opera, and the Muff is now during intermission has to make conversation with everyone, and C-3PO is trying to help as much as possible, but C-3PO is like, this is not a good idea, because the guy is just coming up with answers all over the place out of his butt. So anyway, so back in the to the trio. So Han, Luke, Leia, they infiltrate the base, and as they walk through the door with of course they use the Moff's key to get in, and passcode or whatever. And the stormtroopers are all there playing cards. And the Moff says, "Oh, this is embarrassing." So that was pretty funny. And so once they infiltrate the base, the Moff says, "You're trying to get the..." Because they realized what they were trying to do. "You're trying to get the king out?" And they find the king, and he's in this life support system. And he's like, "You idiots! This is the only thing keeping him alive." So we'll see what happens there, but it's decent. The artwork's great. But it's Darth Vader has some whole Mon Cala thing going on too, so it's like a combined storyline. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. Okay, and for our last book, we have X-Men Gold, number 27. And I remember when X-Men books used to be good. And I'm having a really tough time with this. I haven't collected an X-Men book for a while, for obviously that reason. So this is the whole setup for now for Kitty Pryde and Peter Rasputin, who is Colossus, getting married. So they had a bachelor party for Peter in Vegas, and he was captured by this nanobot Sentinel. So now he's all tied up and everything else, and he gets the Sentinel's talking to him, and then the big baddie comes in, or the brains behind it. Professor Nance is this woman. So she tells him that she is going to use his blood. Now what they don't say is why he is not armored. So they take his blood, but I guess they took it when he was unconscious. I guess it doesn't matter. So they take his blood, and they're going to use his blood to create a virus to kill all the mutants all across the world. And I think I said this in our last review. We've already seen this. We've seen this type of storyline. With the people taking their power, everybody's powers away, with House of M, and now it's kind of the same storyline with, all the mutants are in danger. So, and then it switches to Rachel and Storm confronts Rachel because she sees that Rachel's powers are growing, or as she called, level up. So her powers are leveled up. So, and now they're not really trusting her because of the fact that she can sense people from across great areas of space or time, or not time, but areas, distances. And also, she'd be able to read people's minds easier and stuff like that. So, Storm basically tells her to be careful, but Storm looks like Thor. I know what they're trying to do, because during the Fear Itself storyline, everybody kind of got hammers. It wasn't a great storyline, but now they're reinventing that or reiterating that with this storyline. So Storm's got a hammer. She's dressed like Thor. She even has the stupid helmet on from Asgardian, which she's not Asgardian. She's more Wakandan than she is Asgardian, because she was married to Black Panther. But it just looks stupid. It looks totally stupid. Alright, if you gave her the hammer, which, even if you did that, there's no reason for her to be dressed as an Asgardian. She's just not. She isn't grown up as an Asgardian. I don't know. So anyway, so they track Peter down to the Savage Land, and they're fighting all of the Sentinels. And Kitty decides that she's gonna have a moment where she's having second thoughts, and she's having a conversation with Rogue about the wedding. So, all these kind of things are happening. It's the universe telling me that we shouldn't be together. The guy you love is in prison, for all you know, going to be dead. So this is not really the time to have second thoughts about the marriage. So, so they continue to fight the Sentinels in there, and Kitty confronts Nance, and the Sentinel shows up and bashes her in the head, and the Nance fires a missile off, which Storm and the other flyers go out and try to catch the missile, and you assume that the missile has whatever virus on it, so when it explodes, it'll start to infect everyone. Anyway, I'm collecting that because I wanted they reeled me in with the event of the wedding, but other than that, it's not good. And I'm totally disappointed with this whole Storm thing. But anyway, we'll see where it goes with the final of the wedding, and after the wedding, I probably won't collect another X-Men book for a while. Anyway, that's this week. There's only really one movie that comes out this week, because I will not see the Melissa McCarthy movie. So I'll be doing a review on that one of Breaking In. Alright, so I will see you guys in a few days. Alright, subscribe to the channel. And again, if you want any comics reviewed from the past, let me know, or anything upcoming. And I will be doing, I'm almost finished with the Death of Thor, so I'll be doing a review on that as well. Alright, have a great week, guys.